Hello, and welcome to ABHOW and be.group, One Mission for Senior Living. I would now like to introduce your moderator for today, Joanne Handy, CEO of Leading Age California. Joanne, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Mary Beth, and welcome the audience to this momentous occasion. I am deeply honored to be part of the very significant announcement of the proposed merger of American Baptist Homes of the West and the be.group, a merger that will create the largest senior living and services organization in California. The significance here goes beyond the two organizations in that we are talking about a union that will strengthen the not-for-profit presence in senior living and services. From the very beginning of the history of services, it has been the not-for-profits that have pioneered in this field. As we look forward to the exploding growth in the population of older citizens and to the challenges that our field faces, many of the most forward-thinking organizations have asked themselves two key questions. What kind of partnerships and alliances can strengthen our mission? And secondly, how can the not-for-profit provider community band together to enhance the values that we embrace? Today, you will hear about one of those unions. We're proud that California has been home to many strategic alliances that have been very successful. And today is another bold and very big example. I have to reflect that having just passed and just celebrated the 4th of July holiday, I remember the quote, well, I probably don't have this quite right, but in terms of celebrating the Declaration of Independence, it was a quote something like, in order to create a more perfect union. And so in order to create a more perfect union here, ABHOW and be.group have come together to merge. With that, I'd like to now turn to Randy Stamper, who is the chair of the board of American Baptist Homes of the West and its parent company, Cornerstone, to talk more. Randy?
Thanks, Joanne. I'm excited to be here this morning. I'm excited because this merger will make ABHOW and be.group the largest senior nonprofit provider of housing in California. I believe it will make our organizations together the 6th largest provider of senior housing, nonprofit senior housing in the United States. So it's a major, major move on both of our organizations' part to come together. Joanne, I was asked to kind of outline what our history was as American Baptist Homes of the West. We were created in 1949. Dave's been with us now, Dave Ferguson, our CEO, for 24 years and has really grown the organization. We have over 5,800 residents in 49 communities. We've got 12 CCRCs, 33 affordable housing communities under Beacon Communities and their leadership. We're in California, Washington, Idaho, Arizona, and Nevada. We're a $250 million enterprise annually. Between be.group and ABHOW, we will be a $350 million enterprise annually. ABHOW has over $1 billion in assets. So we're excited about this. So how did it happen? The board of ABHOW and Cornerstone was informed about a year ago that Dave would be retiring as of February of 2017. So we began a search. The search led us to John Cochran, who is a leader in this industry and who we believe is a worthy successor to Dave Ferguson. So as we were talking to John, we started thinking maybe there was more to this than just John Cochran. Maybe this was an opportunity to create something that would stabilize even better the future for our residents and enhance the benefits for our residents as we go forward. So with that in mind, we started this process, and that's led us here today to the merger, which we will accomplish in the spring of 2016. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Dave Ferguson for some comments. David?
Thanks, Randy. The background of how we got here today, you've heard a little bit about. It has to do, though, with a conversation that started between John Cochran and I over 5, almost 6 years ago about the need for large not-for-profits to work together and to even consider the unthinkable of merging. And it's taken us 5 years to get to the conclusion that we have today. But over that course of time, we found that it really intensified in the last 6 months. And that's when we discovered that we had a great mission alignment, we had a great staff alignment, a great governance program that was aligned. Just seemed like the time was right to consider this. The conclusions of the board and management were to move forward with a merger, but it's all subject, as you hear, to outside approvals that we will go through. But in the meantime, we're looking at our strategic plan, which says growth, growth, growth. And when you consider how to grow in this business, it's very, very expensive. A single development, as most of the people on this call would know, could be $120 million and upwards. But here's an opportunity for two organizations to come together for very little risk to present a new entity that will have solid financial strength and size. Size is not always better, but it does open doors and creates the opportunity to fulfill our plan of growth. We're fulfilling our mission and doing it in two little ways that I will talk about. One is through risk management. That would be talking at the development costs that are out there. If we were to try to do a single project at a time, it's very risky and very expensive. But in this way, we become a stronger organization almost overnight, although our team that's working on this would probably argue that it's not overnight. So I would like to thank that team, which we call the Affiliation Committee, and I believe Al Kelly is going to describe who they were. But as I've thought about this, how to explain to people what is really going on here, because we're entering times when we don't really know what the result is going to be. And I thought of Columbus as he was sailing off saying, I've got a great ship, I've got a great team, I believe in the team and I believe in the mission, but I don't know what's over the horizon. But I have the courage to go over the horizon. This group has the courage to sail into those unknown waters and to see what's over there, and I believe we're prepared to meet that challenge. So thanks to the Affiliation Committee, thanks to you for being on the call. Al?
Thank you, Dave. And so as you said, I'm Al Kelly. I'm the board chair of the B.group, formerly known as Southern California Presbyterian Homes. We've been in this business for over 60 years, began as a faith-based organization and continue as a faith-based organization. And we're very happy that we're joining together with ABHOW, another faith-based organization. That's important to all of us. Our mission has been to empower older adults to age with enthusiasm, security, and confidence. And we expect to continue that mission and keep it going. We at the B Group have 6 CCRCs and one affordable housing, one assisted living memory care facility community, and we have 27 affordable housing communities that we run. We have 1,300 employees serving 4,000 residents. And as Dave mentioned, we formed this affiliation committee, and the committee has been 4 board members of ABHOW and 3 board members from the B Group. We've been meeting for several months. We have gelled very well. We actually like each other. It's a good thing. And as we've discussed and come together and seen, it's been very apparent that our missions are very compatible. Our cultures are compatible. We have the same ideas. We have the same services. From a geographic standpoint, we cover Southern California. ABHOW covers mainly more Northern California, so there's not really an overlap of communities, but we're joining a group of communities together to be a stronger, better company. We think we will be the leading, at this point in time, the leading senior living company in the state of California. We think we have an opportunity to be a leader in the senior living field nationally. We will be able to achieve by coming together, we'll be able to achieve our long-term goals quicker. We'll do that through standardization of processes, economies of scale. I think it's been mentioned we'll have better access to capital, all of which will make us a stronger company together, and all of which will be to the benefit of our residents. And again, the Affiliation Committee experience has been wonderful. It's been terrific, and we're all very excited and enthused about this. And so I'd like to introduce John Cochran, who's the CEO and president of the B Group and has been leading us for 6 years in our turnaround to become a much stronger company. John.
Al, thank you so much, and welcome everybody. This is an important and good and really happy day. I am tremendously excited to be here and to be sharing this news with people. Joanne, I want to thank you for being here on behalf of our association. It is terrifically important to us to have you with us as our state leader. You've been a terrific leader for us. You've been a terrific resource for us, and I want you to know how grateful we are that you're here to help share this news. I, too, want to express a debt of gratitude to the members of our Affiliation Committee, both board members and staff members who have been working pretty much tirelessly for the last 6 months to pull this off. As you can imagine, there are a lot of moving pieces to this kind of affiliation. It takes a lot of work, and everybody's been fully employed while they've been doing it. So it's taken a lot of effort, and people have made that effort because they understand how important a move this is, how important it is for those we serve and for the organizations we are and who we need to be into the future. And finally, before I go any further, I want to pay a particular acknowledgement of respect and appreciation to Dave Ferguson. Dave started this process, as he noted, nearly 6 years ago, shortly after I came to what was then SCPH. He picked up the phone and said, we've absolutely got to look at ways that we can be more creative in working together to better meet the needs of the people we serve. And we started a long-term conversation that has culminated in our being here. And Dave, your leadership, not just of ABHOW, but in our industry, in particular in this process, has been instrumental, and I want you to know how appreciative I am that you're taking that role on. Joanne, you mentioned something really interesting in your opening remarks that I want to talk about, and that is not-for-profit leadership in this field. When you look back over the past 50, 100 years, it has been the not-for-profits who have pioneered bringing services and programs to seniors. And part of the rationale for this merger is to make sure that we remain in a leadership role. Not-for-profits are important. This not-for-profit is important. Our leadership is critically important, and all of us are absolutely committed to that. And I've gone around our communities, and I've visited with residents, I've visited with team members, I've talked with board members. The two questions I keep getting asked, that I suspect we're all going to be getting asked in the future, is why merge and why now? Why merge comes down to two simple words for me. It's mission growth. We are mission-based organizations, and both of these organizations have been working for more than 60 years to bring senior housing and services to folks, and we've done a terrific job. We lead in affordable housing, in continuing care housing, in a commitment to middle-market housing. We have terrific histories, and now, together, we can do more, we can do better, and we can serve more people. That is central to who we are and who we've been and who we need to be going into the future. I sometimes get asked the question of what does scale mean? Why is bigger better? Well, bigger by itself isn't better, but bigger does bring resources to this new organization that are important for every one of our constituencies. For residents, it means greater financial security and strength of our system. More peace of mind. That's critically important to us. We remain strong in the face of all kinds of economic threats out there. Healthcare reform, payor reform, litigation, all the things that we need to manage as an organization. We are stronger for coming together. For team members, this is terrific news because this opens up all kinds of pathways for career development and opportunity. And most important of all, it means mission leadership for these two organizations. We have been mission leaders for 60 years. We talked about this being, one mission for senior living. That is entirely what this is all about. And that's exciting news. That's exciting news for all of us, and it's exciting news for every one of our stakeholders. So what's ahead? Well, what's ahead is a lot more hard work. We have 6 months of integration planning. We have 6 months of regulatory approvals. We have 6 months of all kinds of work that needs to be done to dot the I's, cross the T's, and get our organizations together. We're committed to doing that. We have strong talent on both sides of the table here, and I'm anxious to get things rolling. I think we're all anxious. One of the things that has become clear in this process from both sides is how deeply committed we are to providing pathways to well-aging for more and more people. That's tremendously exciting for me, and it's tremendously exciting to move this forward. So on behalf of all of us, I'm anxious to get going. And Joanne, I'll turn it back to you.
All right. Well, thank you all. And we are going to, in a few minutes, entertain questions from the audience out there. But to get us started, I just have a few. John, jumping on something that you said about the impact on residents in terms of greater financial stability of the place that they call home. Can you talk more about the benefits of this merger to residents?
I absolutely can. And the benefits are many, although in some respects they may be a little bit hidden, right? Because the greater financial strength comes kind of behind the scenes, if you will. But it means we have greater resources for programming, ultimately, greater financial strength, access to lower cost capital, which again translates into the financial health and security of the company. So all of that is good news. When I'm asked the question of what will change for residents, the short answer to that question is not much, right? The food's still going to be delivered. Breakfast will be there when breakfast should be there. Dinner will be there when dinner will be there. It'll be delivered by the same people. The bus is still going to run on the same schedule. So much of their day-to-day life will not change, and that's the way it should be. But what is important is the financial strength of the organization, our commitment to always improving programs and services and bringing innovation where it's needed to our organization will remain in place and be amplified by this. So across the board, this should be reassuring and good news for our residents.
Thank you, John. We have received a audience question that we'll turn to now, and I think I'll ask you, Dave. The question is, are the ratios of team members serving residents, are they within the accepted ratios in the profession? The accepted levels is another way to say it.
The answer is yes, and it has been confirmed by the use of outside consultants to take a look at our numbers, to look at B Group's numbers, and identify areas where there might be difference, where there might be opportunity for savings, or taking a best practice and implementing it at both organizations.
Joanne, may I add something to that
Please,
comment that
John.
I think is important?
Yeah.
Dave referenced something that I probably should have touched on, and that is part of what we're going to do in the next 6 months is work to make sure we pull the best out of both organizations going forward. We are absolutely committed to taking the best of ABHOW, the best of B Group, and making sure that what we form in the future is the best new organization. We have been committed to that throughout this process, which has been, I think, reassuring for all of us and should reassure all of our constituent groups, and we're committed to that going forward. So I'm glad you brought that up.
And, John, you talked about what will change, what will get better. But I've heard you talk before about what will not change for the residents and for the staff. Would either you or Dave like to comment on that?
Well, again, I think when you look from a resident perspective, the things that residents don't want to change are not going to change. The things where residents would like us to improve and continue bringing quality programs, services, and amenities will only get better. For team members, again, I think it's the same thing. Much of the day-to-day activities aren't going to change and certainly aren't going to change overnight. But what does change is the opportunity for career development. One of the things that our organization has always admired about ABHOW is the real industry leadership they've shown in talent development and attraction. And when you look at one of the challenges that we face as an organization, attracting, training, retaining the best talent in the field is critically important. ABHOW's been at the forefront of that. We think they have some best practices that we can pick up and share, and that's what we're committed to doing as an organization. So in that respect, from a team member perspective, again, this should be all good news for team members.
Thanks, John. Randy, talk to the audience more about Dave Ferguson's future role.
Well, I touched on it earlier. We don't want to lose Dave's expertise and his leadership that he's given to our organization until he's ready to retire. And he's telling us he's not ready to retire until February of 2017. Mm-hmm. We're going to put this merger together in the spring of 2016. So what we plan to do and what we've asked Dave to do is to take on the role of being the executive advisor to Cornerstone. So he's going to be there for special projects that John has when John takes over the reins of B.group, ABHOW, and Cornerstone in the spring of 2016. Dave will be there that first year to make sure that we have special projects covered, that John knows our history, that John's introduced properly to our residents and the staff.
And Dave, this announcement must be a legacy moment for you. Talk about your thoughts as you leave an amazing leadership history with ABHOW and with the profession.
Well, I've been blessed, and it's the old, if you do something you love, you won't work a day in your career. Now, I don't want the board to hear that. I did work. But it continues to be a blessing. And looking back at 25 years is long enough, and so I'm ready to go. But I couldn't leave if it wasn't with the thinking that it was in good hands. Mm-hmm. And our interaction with B.group over the years, and with John in particular, have convinced me that they are the right group for us to come together. And I can leave confident that anything that my team has built up is going to be only enhanced.
Well, indeed, you should feel justifiably proud of this moment. And so we're about to bring our announcement today to a close. As John Cochran mentioned, this is not only a momentous occasion for the B.group and the ABHOW family, but for our entire leading age family of not-for-profit senior living providers, because this merger strengthens all of us by strengthening the not-for-profit presence that both John and Dave and others have described. And you will look forward to learning a lot more as the work continues and as the path unfolds. But this indeed is a joyous day for these two organizations, for the residents that they serve and will serve in the future, and for the legacy of not-for-profit senior living and services in our state and in the United States. Thank you.